3D cinema was supposed to be the next big thing in movies. The screen wasn't just a window anymore, it was a portal into impossible worlds beyond space and time. Glasses that made images pop out of the screen, giving the illusion of depth. How cool is that? Monsters could burst right out of the screen at you, spaceships could swoop in and carry you off, and characters could fall right into the abyss. The possibilities were endless. The movie industry hyped up 3D films as an innovative, cutting edge, and the future of cinema. But despite the initial burst of success, 3D cinema failed to catch on and ultimately fell flat. Join us as we explore why 3D cinema was all hype and no substance. 3D cinema was not a new concept. It first gained popularity in the 1950s with movies like House of Wax and Dial M for Murder. However, it made a comeback in the 2000s with the release of movies like Avatar. James Cameron's sci-fi epic was a visual spectacle, and 3D was a huge part of its appeal. The film smashed box office records, and studios scrambled to convert blockbusters into 3D to cash in. 3D cinema gained even more popularity with the releases of movies like Up and Toy Story 3. And so the frenzy continued. The movie industry marked 3D as an exciting new experience that would transport the audience into the world of the movie being watched, making one feel like part of the plot. Audiences flocked to 3D screenings and paid higher ticket prices, fueling the hype. 3D technology promised to revolutionize the movie-watching experience and offer a new way of storytelling, but the hype soon fizzled out. Despite its initial success, the popularity of 3D cinema began to decline due to a combination of factors. One of the main reasons was the high cost of creating 3D movies. The process of making a 3D movie is complex, time-consuming, and expensive, which made it a risky proposition for studios. The cost of producing a 3D movie could be up to 50% higher than a regular movie, which meant that studios had to invest more money in the production of 3D movies. Furthermore, most cinemas did not have the equipment required to show 3D movies, which made it harder for studios to recoup their investment. Another reason for the downfall of 3D cinema was the lack of quality content. Most of the 3D movies released were either poorly made or had a weak storyline. They were typically just 2D films hastily converted to 3D, with visuals that felt gimmicky rather than revolutionary. Some studios even used 3D technology as a gimmick to attract audiences, without paying attention to the quality of the content. As a result, many 3D movies failed to impress audiences, who felt that they were not getting their money's worth. In a nutshell, creating 3D films was quite expensive, costing up to $15 million more per movie, and audiences got tired of paying higher prices for a lackluster experience with little quality content. Moreover, the discomfort and inconvenience of wearing 3D glasses was another factor. Wearing 3D glasses for an extended period of time can cause discomfort and headaches. People who wear prescription glasses had to wear 2 pairs of glasses, which made the experience even more uncomfortable. This made it harder for people to enjoy 3D movies, which affected the overall audience experience. Then there was the negative impact it had on the overall movie-watching experience. 3D movies were criticized for being unnecessarily distracting. The focus on 3D effects often took away from the plot and character development, which made it harder for audiences to connect with the characters and become emotionally invested in the movie. Instead of immersing the audience in the story, 3D movies often distracted them with flashy effects. Lastly, the rise of streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu also affected the movie industry. As streaming services rose, movie ticket sales declined, and the inflated cost of 3D films dealt a major blow to studios. People are now more likely to watch movies at home rather than at the cinema, which has resulted in a decline in overall cinema attendance. This has made it even harder for 3D cinema to gain traction, as studios are now more hesitant to invest in 3D movies, unsure if they will be able to recoup their investment. While largely a flop, 3D cinema still lives on in some blockbusters like Avengers Endgame, though not as prominently as before. However, with the advancement in technology, there is a potential for it to make a comeback. For example, virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR technology could make 3D cinema more accessible and enjoyable. VR and AR can create a more immersive experience for the audience, which could make 3D cinema more appealing. Moreover, new 3D projection technology like laser projection could address some of the drawbacks of wearing glasses, making 3D cinema more comfortable and enjoyable for the audience. Another potential future for 3D cinema is in theme parks and other attractions. 3D cinema has been used in theme parks and other attractions for many years, but it could still have a place in the future. They could use 3D cinema to create immersive experiences for their visitors, which could be more appealing than regular rides or attractions. If 3D films can tap into these advancements and focus on quality over gimmicks, and if ticket prices drop, 3D may make a comeback. But for now, 3D cinema remains mostly an overhyped fad that couldn't stand the test of time. 3D cinema failed because it was an expensive gamble that relied more on hype than substance or sustainability. Costly tech, lack of quality content, discomfort, and rising streaming services ultimately turned audiences off of 3D. The movie industry has learned from these missteps, using 3D more sparingly and strategically in blockbusters. While 3D movies aren't the hot ticket they used to be, the format is far too mesmerizing to disappear completely from theaters. Though its return to widespread popularity is unclear, it will always remain a source of curiosity and enchantment for moviegoers craving a layered experience. What do you think of 3D movies? Hit or miss? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below.